Hey everyone, welcome to the Nice Guy Show. I'm the Nice Guy, Phil Torcivia, and I'm here with some great guests today. They are both healers from the Encinitas area. You can follow us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/suchaniceguy, and I have linked to my guests' sites there as well. So please follow online, give us comments and questions, and I'll be sure to pass them on to my guests. This week, my first guest is I'm talking about you, Kathy. Our first guest is a spiritual intuitive and a holistic healer, life coach.
Life coach.
Yeah, she does it all. And her name is Kathy McLaughlin. So welcome, Kathy. Welcome to the show.
Much. Thanks for having me.
And my second guest is Dr. Michelle Walford, who is a natural healer and a naturopathic doctor. Specializes in sports medicine.
Heck yeah.
Right? That's what you do.
That's what I do.
Why don't you guys talk a little bit about what type of clients you serve? Kathy, you can go first.
I work with just about anybody, men and women, couples, but mainly women, and I also work with teenagers, which is very, very, very fun and exciting for me. But really, it's not limited to anybody. I mean, it's limited and open to anybody, actually.
So do you prefer calling yourself a therapist or a healer or
somehow
coach?
People relate to therapist, the terminology. But it goes beyond just traditional psychology. I was trained in traditional psychology. I have my master's in counseling psychology, but I was always intuitive from the time I was young, and so I blend the metaphysical world with the traditional psychology world.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and what can you do for people?
Well, the type of patients that I typically see are athletes, as you just mentioned. Yep. And I work with a lot of kiddos. And then I work with men and women of all ages where I kind of do this balancing the triad. So it's working with your digestive tract, working with your endocrine system, which is all of your hormones, and then working with your central nervous system. Because any sort of life experience can kind of rattle us in a positive or negative way, and it kind of places memory within all of our cells. So it's just about understanding how our body is experiencing all these experiences, how it's eliminating it, and how it could be affecting our body as a whole.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah,
So you two would work really well
Oh
together.
yeah,
You both both ends of the spectrum.
It's a collaboration in the making.
It is definitely. You also do tarot card reading.
Yes, I do. Yes,
we should do that sometime. Have a reading here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm worried though. What if the death card comes up?
There's a misconception about the death card, and it's a powerful, actually amazing card, and somebody who's coming and looking for change and looking for transformation. It's the ultimate transformation. It's a shedding of the old and bringing on the new. So usually, hopefully, after someone leaves me and they see the death card, they see it as an exciting new beginning as opposed to an ending.
That's a good sign. Yeah. Still, I would do. I think it'd be fun. Let's. My books are about relationships mostly, humor, and they're available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, by the way. So let's talk a little bit about relationships. I know Kathy has a boyfriend, so she's probably not going to have as much to share as Michelle. And the other good thing is that we're from 3 different decades. You're 30-ish, 40-ish, and 50. So we can talk about our different experiences in that area.
Okay.
What's it been like for you?
Well, I'm single, as you just mentioned, and I don't know. I mean, I like being single, and no rush to get married. Definitely want to get married at some point and have kids, but yeah, I mean, I've dated here and there. I'm not a big dater. I mean, I kind of will go out and grab a cocktail with anybody, but I just like to get to know people naturally, I guess. Playing sports and being on the beach, and not the whole let's go have a dinner interview.
It seems like that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing the online dating, it seems like it's interview after an interview after an interview, and it's just tedious. But we must do it. Now, you fortunately found a great guy. How did you two meet?
I did. We actually, I went to sing karaoke. I love to sing, and his girlfriend at the time was the bartender at the place where I sang karaoke, and the person that I had gone with, who was a friend and a former boss, he had too much to drink, and so Mark offered me a ride home, and I thought, wow, what a nice guy. But we were both, exactly, we were both in relationships at the time and didn't think twice about it, and then a year later, same person, friend, former boss, invited me to go have some beer with the boys after a softball game, and there was Mark, and we were both single, and it was instant.
Wow.
We had both remembered each other, and there it was, and now we're 2.5 years later.
Yeah, he's a great guy, too, great guy. Because he's watching, I want to make sure that he catches
Hi, honey.
that. Yeah, my dating experience here has been pretty interesting, because I got divorced in 2003 and moved here from Philadelphia in 2004. And being, 42, 43 and trying to re-enter the dating world, especially in the culture here, I found, is very different than back east.
Oh, yes.
So entering the Southern California culture as a single man, trying to, find love again, it's been an interesting ride. And that's why my books are interesting, because they're about that subject exactly and my frustrations therewith. But
they're funny and they're fun, and
have to put
I
ourselves
think
out there,
everyone
right?
who reads your book can find a personal story in there somewhere.
I
Something
hope
they've
so. People can relate
experienced.
to it, yeah. Some people get offended, but I think most of the people that follow along have a sense of humor like I do, so they,
Yeah.
they can kind of relate to it. How about, have you had any bizarre first dates? I've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
You tell us about the crazy. She told me about one.
Oh,
You wait to
gosh.
hear this.
Well, I actually have pretty good luck with men and with first dates. But I had a friend from high school, and really not even a friend, a guy that knew me in high school. I kind of knew him. He was a little bit quieter. I don't know, always doing something. And apparently I was his high school crush.
Oh.
So when he found that I was living here, he's like, I really want to take you out. And I was like, okay, why not? Friends, high school, let's do it. So we ended up meeting for lunch, which I wouldn't really consider a first date, and that was fine. And then he was like, I want to take you out to dinner. He's like, this is really going to be a date. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And so I walk into his house, and there's dildos everywhere.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I was like, are you kidding me right now? And when I met him for lunch, he was dressed in a work suit and everything.
Right.
And I was like, man, you're a whole heck of a lot cuter than I ever remember.
Uh-huh.
But I show up, and he's got a mohawk, and he's wearing all black. And I was like, what changed in the last month?
Wow.
And I don't discriminate. I thought it was kind of cool. I love that personal expression. But it was just kind of a
The
180.
dildo part or the hair part?
No, the hair part.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden, when I'm seeing all these sex toys all over the place, I was just kind of do you have an expectation for this evening, or what's going
What the
on?
heck? Did he
That
even
would've
talk
scared
about
me.
it?
Oh no, he made some sort of side joke, and I was like, okay, not gonna happen, but all right.
Wow. So what do you think
Yeah.
his deep-seated problem is?
Sex addict, maybe?
Ooh, yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be into drugs. He actually went to rehab. So I think that oftentimes when you have one addiction and you have moved on to another addiction as a form of therapy. So.
Absolutely.
But how can you be so unaware that that is creepy? You're going to invite a girl over to your place for the first time. Hide the dildos.
Yeah.
Hide the chains. Hide the body parts. Hide well, even magazines. I'm smart. I've learned. I put my Marie Claire and Glamour and Vogue. I put out all those girl magazines. It's important. Instead of you're not going to have a Playboy sitting on the coffee table.
Yeah, no,
It's
definitely not.
Terrible idea. Let's talk a little bit about marriage. Now, have either of you been married?
No.
I've never been married.
I have, so we can't talk about that because I'm the only one that's been married.
Well, you can talk about
I
it.
can talk about it. I was married to a wonderful girl, and I'm actually still good friends with her. So, yeah, the thing that drives me crazy about divorcees and friends of mine that are going through really nasty divorces is, this is a person that you decide to spend your life with, and this is someone you've grown so close to that you made such a commitment to them. If the relationship ends, why must you hate that person? You should still at least maintain somewhat of a friendship with that person, especially if there are children involved. Now, in my case, there were no children involved, so it probably made things a little bit easier. But I adore her and I admire her, and she set the bar pretty high for the next Mrs. if that ever comes along. But,
And also, you guys, from what I understand, very, very deep mutual respect for one another, which I think is the core of any honest relationship.
Sure is. Sure is. And we handled the breakup well, I felt. And there's just so many breakups are just nasty. I think when you get lawyers involved, the lawyers are basically paid hourly. So what they want to do is drag out, the proceedings as long as they can. And that helps build the tension and the hatred
animosity,
and the animosity, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, that's not a good way to handle it. Now, do you see any married couples? Do you have any?
I do, and a new trend, which I am completely in favor of, is people who come in before they get married. They're dating, they're in love, they want to get married. It might be their first, it might be their second, maybe even third sometimes. But their idea is all relationships have conflicts and problems. They all do. And anyone who says there aren't, then they're not being honest.
Right.
So it's almost like a premarital counseling. Let's iron out these kinks that are going to still be there once we say I do. And I wish it was more considered just protocol, because I think it can save a lot of relationships from, misconceptions down the line.
Yeah.
Now, what are your takes on all the sexual dysfunction that's going on now? The ED medicine, Viagra, Cialis. Is this something that is a recent trend, kind of like the gluten intolerance that's happening? What's going on? Why all of a sudden are these becoming popular?
I want to defer to you just in terms of medical reasons, and if there really is, because that's not something I know a lot about.
Yeah, medically speaking, when somebody does have some sort of sexual dysfunction, the two first things you look at is, are you on a medication that could be creating the dysfunction? Or two, it really is more of an emotional thing. And I know that word emotions in men, they don't seem to congeal very well for whatever reason, and maybe people are getting a little bit more metro that it's okay. But there's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety that comes up with around sexual function. Like, especially now that people talk about it so openly. It's kind of like, can I perform? Am I going to be up to par? Who did you sleep with last? You know, just a lot of these kind of questions. So I would say fear and meds.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, I want to try it sometime, though. I'm thinking about it. The day will come when I try it. In our next segment, we're going to continue our talk about sex, and we're also going to get into some diet and health issues. Kathy has an interesting experience to share with you.